Mm.
All right, we're ready to roll. Thank you so much for joining us on the Onion Juice podcast. I have our guest on, and we're going to just dive right into the questions here. The first question that I have for the group is kind of a two-part question or a combination, and go ahead and answer this however you want. But what is your favorite thing about Snapchat, and where do you see the most opportunity with Snapchat? And I'm going to go to Dustin first, if you could answer that.
Sure. So I'm active on all the major social networks, and Snapchat, what I like most is just it seems like you can make better connections with people because it's so much more authentic. It's more like a POV where you feel like you're kind of there with them, having a conversation with them, just by just the whole feel of it, and just the authenticity and the ability to create what seems to be real relationships versus just messaging each other or texting each other, and not really ever actually talking on the other social networks. So Snapchat's just it seems real.
Yeah. And Dustin, where do you see like opportunity as a realtor and to grow your business, to grow your network? Where do you see that with Snapchat? How do you see that playing in?
Well, that ties into just the authenticity and everything. So we're in such a different world now where people don't want to be chased down for business. They don't want to be chased down and convinced or attempted to be convinced why they need to work with us, why they should hire us. People want to make their own decisions, and I feel like the way the world is now is people go off who they like and trust. And Snapchat, because of the ability for you to just be yourself and be authentic and give people a view into your life and your personality and how you operate, that will give them, it just gives people that the ability to like you and trust you a lot more. And I see huge upside because of that with real estate, in just, getting ourselves out there, showing people who we are, and naturally some of them that resonate with your personality or the things that you say or the value you bring, some of them are going to want to work with you. So much more so than on any of the other social networks where you're still trying to just chase down business. I just see Snapchat as a complete game changer.
Amen, man. And Bucky, what are your thoughts around all this?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is I thought I was decent at social media, like I posted, but I wasn't like the influencers that were online. And Snapchat has allowed me now to, I feel like, have the opportunity to be an influencer long term because I feel so comfortable in posting on Snapchat. And I don't know if it's just like the way that the information goes away that it just got me over that fear of posting. And so now I recognize because I'm posting on Snapchat, I'm posting on a ton more platforms, my Instagram, my Twitter, and also it's allowed me to open my eyes to look for content. The content is in front of me all day long, and I just missed it. I walked by it, and now it's like, oh, because of Snapchat, I recognize that's a great Twitter post. I recognize it's a great Facebook post. That's what Snapchat has done for me.
That's so cool. And that's big because there's a lot of agents that really they know that they need to use social media. They know that they need to get their content out there, but they're reluctant to do it. And with you breaking through using Snapchat, it's kind of like tore down a wall for you. Is that what you're kind of alluding to?
Absolutely. I've had a goal of trying to talk to other realtors in other states. It's Snapchat that has allowed me to do that in the last 30 days. And now I'm collaborating with other realtors like you guys thanks to Snapchat. So going on to like the second phase of that question, what was that second phase, Neil?
Yeah, like where do you see like the most opportunity?
Most opportunity for me is just the collaboration. Like I got people that are pushing me to post on YouTube. I had a guy today from Kansas City, a realtor, say, hey, do you have investors? Because I got deals. And he sent me a message on Snapchat, and I was like, well, yeah, I got investors. And I've never even thought of Kansas City because I don't know anything about it. And here we are having a direct conversation on Snapchat. So that's the opportunity. I'm able to expand my network, expand my business, expand my reach, and it's going to start taking down some walls for me. It's like I've said, it's going to take down the walls of my local community. I want to get out of these walls someday and expand my business. Snapchat is the first step for me in doing so.
So awesome, man. Good deal. And Marion, what can you add to all of this?
I think to both Dustin and Bucky's point, I think it's really, for me at least, it's the social media outlet that works for me. I think just generally speaking, everybody has their strike zone. You might be fantastic at Instagram, you might be awesome at Twitter and real-time updates, or you might just hit it out of the park on Facebook. I think, and kind of what I'm hearing from the rest of the group as well, is we kind of did that, but we were batting about 85% maybe on that, and there wasn't a whole lot of connectivity between us and our viewers or the people who were consuming our content. And I think for me on Snapchat, it's a platform that worked for me. I had no idea that this was my wheelhouse until, maybe 6 snaps in, where I started getting some pretty positive feedback, and it kind of, all of this engagement and this positive feedback, it builds on itself. It's like a snowball, and I think we can all attest to that. I mean, we're sitting here on a podcast today as a result of something that came about less than maybe 2.5 years ago, 2013, somewhere in there.
That's so good.
Yes, awesome.
It's so true. It's so true. And I just look at this group. We tried to do this show earlier this week, and because of my failure on my equipment and side of things, we had to reschedule it. And I loved one of the comments in the chat box. It was like a family reunion. It was like this whole group of realtors across the country have all met using Snapchat and have grown together and know each other's lives and know that Bucky has a deer on his wall that talks, and that Dean down in Arizona, we know Dakota, we know his dog, we know things about our lives. We know that Dustin wears the same thing every day, and we're like growing together, and something that no other platform to this date, I think, offers.
Amen. Good job.
Good. It's good. Eric, what can you add to all this?
Well, one of the things I really like about Snapchat is it's fun to use. I mean, the filters are pretty cool. One of the filters I love the most is the geotag. So here in Cocoa Beach, it's pretty much the same one every time, but if I hit different parts of the county, there's 4 or 5 different tags that I can do, and take a picture of a new listing or maybe a restaurant I'm leaving or something along those lines and geotag it. I think that's pretty neat. I like how when I first signed up for the app, it kind of scrubbed all the names that were in my phone, and it pulled up a whole list of people that were also on Snapchat, and I've been able to reconnect with some friends from high school, some past customers that I haven't spoken to in a while. We're now connected on Snapchat. It is a very good connector in that regards. Plus, if you add anybody new to your phone, next time you log in and you click the Find the Friend, it'll tell if any new entries to your database is on Snapchat as well, and you can choose if you want to reach out to them on this platform or not.
That's good. That's good. And so I think to kind of wrap this up and put a bow on it, to answer the question of what can I do as a realtor to sell more real estate because of Snapchat, I think bottom line, it's attention, and I think that bottom line, it's taking your relationships deeper. And I think that encompasses it all. You're not going to go on like with Facebook, you can do Facebook advertising and direct leads from Facebook to a landing page and collect names and all of that. That's not going to happen on Snapchat. This is about relationship, and I believe we're in a relationship business. So I think that this is the exact application that you want to use to build relationships. So Dustin, I want to go to you now, and you've been on Inman News. You are a blogging machine, and are getting the word out there about Snapchat. That's how I found you, and I think that's how a lot of people are finding you. And so I kind of wanted to talk about that, what you've been putting out on Inman News. And if you could tell someone who has no idea what Snapchat is, why and how they should use it. This kind of, talk about what's been your biggest takeaway, or what the things that you've written, what's really stood out at you.
So for those that still don't, they're still not on Snapchat and they're just kind of curious about the platform and about all the hype that's going on right now with it. Snapchat is a video and photo messaging social network. You can be very creative by putting, Eric was talking about the geo filters earlier. Depending on where you're at, those will pop up, and you can put like Salt Lake City across your photo or your video. You can put the temperature. You can write on it. You can add text, and so you can be very creative with it. And here's the deal: everyone is on Snapchat right now, or they will be within 2 years. It's as simple as that. That's how Facebook was back in the day. Facebook is now kind of like Facebook's aged so much that it's now for like everyone 40 and 50 and above. It seems like it's just kind of the establishment. But anyways, you asked quite a few different questions there that made me want to answer all sorts of different things.
Go at it, man. I wanted to leave it open for you.
Cool.
I'm horrible at. I did a horrible job of asking a direct question, so that you could just take it from there.
Well, see, that's dangerous with me because my mind just, I'm ADD like crazy.
Bring it, man. Let's do it.
But so you mentioned my Inman article and my blogging. I've had half a dozen Snapchat articles published, and that's where the majority of my followers come from, and the vast majority of them are real estate agents. So it's cool, like Bucky's been talking about. It's cool to network with you guys and other agents from all around the country, and not just agents, but mortgage people and other bloggers and marketing people, and we're able to see what they're doing, and I get ideas from watching other people's snaps. And everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and so I kind of see what's working for other people, and if it gives me an idea, I implement that into my snaps. And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Hey, what's we're pretty early to the platform, Yes. But what's something that you're seeing agents do that is driving you nuts?
When they're snapping 100% business-related stuff, drives me out of my mind. I feel like I do way too much real estate-related and business-related snaps. I try to be very self-conscious about it because that's a surefire way to turn people off immediately unless they are specifically wanting to see real estate stuff, which is, let's be honest, it's not that many people at any given time. It has to be the right time for them. So it drives me nuts and makes me really try to be aware of it myself when people are all they do is talk about real estate. All they do is talk about their new listing, and I'm going to talk to people about real estate. There's this one guy in particular that I follow here in Salt Lake, and he's always saying, well, I'm on my way to talk to people about health insurance and dental insurance, and he names all the insurances, and he does it every morning. I can't imagine he's probably tuned out some people, and I know I have too. That's just the nature of the game, but I just feel like we need to just be ourselves, and when we're out looking at a house, do some content, do some video of that listing and promote that listing a little bit, but don't go overboard with it. We just have to be intentional about what kind of content we're putting out, how much of it we're putting out, and just realize, hey, is this in line with what I'm trying to portray and the people that I'm trying to add value to?
Excellent. That's excellent. Bucky, I'm going to go to you next. And, I've noticed that you pull a lot of people into your snaps. Do you ask for permission, or do you just get out the phone and just start snapping?
So I'm doing a lot more just getting out the phone and start snapping. Like today I was walking through the Skyway and saw a Rochester famous guy that waves on 2nd Street all day, and he's always dressed in something goofy. I was like, can I get a picture of you? And next thing you know, I'm like, it's a video. Say hi to the crowd. He's hello. But with certain people, I do kind of stage it, and I'm not saying like, oh, it's all planned out, but I say, hey, I want to put this on my Snapchat, and let's just have this conversation. And then once we have that conversation, which I think is the message we want to share, let's then put it on Snapchat and get ready for an interruption, because we only have so many seconds. And then I'm going to stop you, and then I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1, go again. Okay, you're done. And so I do stage some of them, at least prep people for the content that I'm sharing on, the channel that I'm sharing on. But I am getting more comfortable of just sharing it on the fly as well. And I love bringing people in. I mean, I got G here behind me. G, here, get in the video. Where are you? So G is the office admin at our office. And every time I come into the office and I see G, I say, how's business at Realty Growth? And what does G say? Say it nice, loud, and proud, G. What do you say?
Growing.
We are growing. So, you know, it's like you just make it part of it. It's our life. And I love sharing the people that are in my life, because it just makes it that much more enjoyable. So.
It's awesome. I admire you because of that, because to me, you're just so relatable. You're so you bring people along in your day, and you meet. I feel like I know all of your friends around you, and like G behind you, and I forget the other guy's name, but I started following him because of you. He's in your office, and then like I try to do the same thing, and I struggle. Like I try to walk into my office, I just can't do it. I don't know. I'm like, I gotta ask Bucky how he does this, because I don't know if I just gotta get the courage to say, hey dude, you're on my Snapchat. Smile.
That's it. And honestly, before Snapchat, like I was, we got to take a team picture. I didn't do it very often. Now with Snapchat, and honestly watching other people that maybe aren't in real estate, so the big name on Snapchat is DJ Khaled. He's bringing people in. Where did I get the growing idea? I asked this young kid always goes booming, right? And I'm like, well, that's pretty sweet. It's the same guy all the time. I want G in my Snapchat because I see him every day. So I just think looking at other industries as well and learning from them. But at the end of the day, just break that barrier down. Does anybody really care? And that's tough. I mean, it's tough to get over that fear. But now I'm over it, and I'm just going as fast as possible and enjoying it along the way.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I noticed too that you're doing a really good job of showing off your city and showing off businesses. Do you're in commercial leasing, commercial sales, and so that's a lot of your clientele, and I love how you just walk into a space and you help promote their space or help promote their business. Is this just in your day-to-day that you're doing this, or is this kind of planned out for your snaps?
No, I mean, I'm just sharing my whole day, sharing a story. That's what it's called. So I'm sharing the story of my day, and I'm now just turning on my camera and understanding there's an audience there watching. So it's not like I'm setting stuff up currently specific to Snapchat, but we had meetings set this morning to measure a space. I shared us checking out the space. And then we had a meeting set to meet with a tenant related to a build-out. I shared it. So it's just a matter of saying, I'm already building a story with my life. Now I just got to bring it to Snapchat, and I guess if it's a halfway decent story, some people might pay attention.
All right. And Dustin, you wanted to add a little bit to it kind of broke up there. Do you want to repeat that very end there, Bucky?
I'm living a story with my life, and I guess if it's a story worth sharing on Snapchat, then some people might watch it, and I'm watching my viewership go up. So I'm sharing my story along the day, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. And Dustin, you wanted to add about being uncomfortable?
Yeah, so I definitely resonate with what Bucky's talking about. He's just out doing his thing, and he'll just say, "Oh, you know what? This is snap-worthy. I'll just get out the phone, and this situation came up, and I think someone would want to see this." We just start snapping, and when you mentioned that you're not really sure if it's something that people want to see or not, you're doing you.
Yeah.
We're all just doing our own thing and being ourselves, and I think that that's so crucial with Snapchat because it's all about the authenticity and everything. And so I have a rule of thumb when it comes to authenticity on Snapchat. If you're not self-conscious every once in a while after hitting submit, after hitting add to my story, if you're not seriously considering deleting it every once in a while because you're self-conscious, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
But, like the one I saw a hashtag going around one take snaps.
Yeah.
Like if you're not doing it in one take and just snapping it, then you're not being fair to Snapchat. You're not.
But I will say, I tell people even when I ask them to be on my Snapchat, I say, look, if you mess up, we can redo this. And that's the same way of the beautiful thing about Snapchat. Am I saying stuff and then I stumble over my words and I say the complete wrong thing? Yes, and then I just reshoot it. But at the end of the day, it is me, I feel like. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. Marion, I want to ask you about how you're doing your snaps. You're bringing people along throughout your day. You're doing a great job with that. And another thing that I absolutely love is your how-tos or your tips or your, it's kind of the good old how-to videos. You are so awesome. And the first time I connected with you, like I said, I felt like you were a news reporter, newscaster, because you were
Same
so
feeling.
good at it. Like she needs to be on HGTV or something.
Heck yeah.
It's amazing. And so, how do you go about doing that? Do you write all this out, or do you do it on the fly?
So in the beginning, it was all on the fly, and it started getting a little bit stressful because I didn't in my head, I couldn't have a beginning and an end. I just kind of got up in my head and didn't exactly know what to say. So I think as the snaps have gone on, I don't even know what number I'm at now, but I do write down some notes, kind of like a bulleted list of what I'm going to say before I do it. But the majority of it, the snap today was all just, I got 2 packages in the mail, and I had been to a super lame meeting the day before, and I just snapped about it. So a lot of it is just kind of, hey, what happens throughout the day?
It's awesome. I like Dustin here. He just in the chat box just wrote the real estate professor of Snapchat.
Awesome.
It's so true. It's so true.
It's true.
It is. It is. You bring such great snaps. I'm loving it. And what's some other opportunities that you're seeing in Snapchat that you some of the things that you're looking to do, kind of planning forward.
So I think I don't recall whom it was, but when it comes to geo filters, and I don't know if anybody else has done it, but you can go on to Snapchat.com, go find there's a link to geo filters. You can actually submit a graphic. I actually did it a few days ago. Submit a graphic, and you can outline the area of town where that filter or that geo filter will appear. So in my case, I have a listing coming on the market. We're still cleaning it up a little bit and making some of those repairs, but I have submitted a geo filter for that particular property so that I can, when it does go on the market, and if that geo filter is accepted, I can then snap my way through that property, be it through an open house, be it through meeting an appraiser, be it through doing, I'm the listing agent, so I probably won't do the final walkthrough, but, kind of really, it's another marketing tool for sellers when it comes to listing a property. So there's opportunity there that I don't think is being capitalized on yet.
That's so awesome. I didn't know that whole geo filter thing. That is really awesome.
That's one of the greatest things I've heard all day.
Yeah.
I just want to get off the Google call right now and go submit my geo filter.
There you go. Just a minute. Yeah, I think it's definitely underutilized, and I think in this forum, not a lot of people know about it yet. But you can, in this case, that geo filter, it looks very similar to the home, and I've used we want to make that geographic area where somebody can access that as big as possible naturally, but Snapchat says, hey, let's make it more specific, but it's for the property, and you can use that filter when you're in the property.
Oh, wow.
That is a nugget.
And and I thought I saw Gary Vaynerchuk has his little hustle, filter that he's been using, and I'm like, wow, he's in at Snapchat. He gets his own geo filter, but wow, that is really cool that they're opening that up. Eric, I want to ask you, I don't know quite how to ask this question, but you're one of the eldest that I've noticed on Snapchat. and there's a lot of talk about being Snapchat is for teenagers only, and that it's starting to move up in age. I'm not a millennial, but I'm darn close. I'm a few years behind that era. But what do you say to that, Eric?
Well, didn't realize I was that old. I'm almost 50, so I guess I am getting up there. I don't really worry about that because I see a lot of people that are on Snapchat that are my age and older that are doing it. It's just another tool that we can use, and it's a lot of fun. I know my nephews, I got two nephews that are in college, and they're like, "You're on this more than we are." So
Awesome.
I guess that's a compliment in some sort of way.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't know how to ask the question, but I just wanted to say, like, I always want to be on social media where my audience is.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk to my parents. My parents listen to my podcast just to support me, and they'll ask me, what is this whole Snapchat thing all about? I've never even heard of it. And they're down in your area now. They go down there in the winter, and so I said, well, you should hop on it. And I've also had a couple of my friends' parents jump on just to follow them and their families on Snapchat. And so I just see it moving up. And I always wanted on social media. I always wanted to be wherever my audience is. And so I'm wondering, is your audience there? And do you have a following of people in your area? And is that growing?
My local followers are growing just from the networking I do, because I do a lot with the chamber. I do a lot with a BNI networking group, and there's a few people in each of the groups that I go to that are on Snapchat, and we support each other. We'll follow each other's snaps. We'll promote their snap codes. But most of the followers that I have are y'all. They're realtors throughout the country, and it's like building. Getting to know each other, and I imagine that it could be down the road, like Bucky was saying, there's collaborations that are happening, or probably referrals going one way or another for building our business too, because you work with people that you know, like, and trust, and Snapchat's certainly given us the platform to get to know each other, get to like each other, and work on the trust factor too.
Well said. That's awesome. That's awesome. And we're excited. Alex has just joined in. Alex, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right, we can.
Yes, we can.
Welcome. Yes, we were having a little bit of difficulties getting Alex, and we still don't have Dean in the room yet. But Alex, welcome. And Alex, what are you seeing for opportunity with Snapchat?
Well, I was listening to you guys while I was trying to get in, and I'm a little bit embarrassed because I do Google training for agents. I couldn't get into the Hangout myself. Everything that you guys said resonated exactly with me. I mean, Snapchat is, I like the speed of it because it's just so fast. I mean, Snapchat has become my default video and camera rather than using the native app on my phone. And I can decide if I want to download it or if I want to send it out. And then, of course, it's so real. I don't have to, I mean, you guys said earlier about a one-snap, kind of one-take snap. And I think that it's so real that there's no, like, Instagram's a lot more curated. You got filters, and even I got people that are touching up, airbrushing their photos and stuff like that. But Snapchat is just raw and real, and so it's super exciting for me. And the last thing is basically that I have very little time to blog. My last blog post is probably in 2012 or something like that, and so this is giving me the opportunity to really share my voice and my story. Just like each one of you guys, and I'd be able to do that fairly quickly and out into the internet rather than taking a little bit of time to do the writing.
All right, and
real quick, Neil, I just want to say one quick takeaway, Alex, that I really captured from you is I want to delete my camera on my phone, the one that comes installed. I can't because Apple doesn't let you. But you're right. I mean, just use Snapchat all the time and then watch it naturally start working for your business. I think that resonated well. Well said.
That's awesome. And Alex, one of the things too that I've noticed that you do is you bring people into the transactions with you, and sometimes it's it's a little more like reality TV watching some of your snaps, and you talk about the good and the bad, the things that you're celebrating and the things that really frustrated you that maybe the other agent did, or just something that's going on in the transaction. Do you ever have any fear around that, and what would you say to people that do have the fear of feeling like maybe some of this might be confidential, or maybe I shouldn't be talking about this while it's in action?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, I think that I do have a fear of it sometimes. It definitely does cross my mind, and I respect privacy. In my in our line of work, we work with a lot of people with different personalities. A lot of people are private about their lives, and so I'm definitely respectful of that. At the same time, I don't want to operate out of fear. I tell my clients that when they're looking to sell a house or buy a house, that we're not going to operate out of fear. And so I like to kind of walk that kind of edge, and that's what it kind of excites me. In fact, today, I snapped about an email I got. Someone asked me for a commission rebate, and I wrote an email back saying, sorry, but I don't think it's good for us to work together. And then I posted it on Snapchat. And then I thought about it after I posted. I was like, wait a minute, what if she's on Snap, and what if she's seeing this email that I'm talking about, me rejecting her? I go, oh well. So I'm always definitely walking that line. I think that's kind of my personality, and I'm always trying to poke and poke, and so. But I am always aware of it, and there's definitely some. I'm thoughtful of what I'm posting.
It's good. Yeah, you walk that line really well, and some of the things that I see you posting, it's like I don't know if I could do that, but you're right. If you just think about it, it's really oh well, it's not really that big of a deal, and it brings us along in your journey, and there's a lot of times where I'm thinking, man, finally somebody said it. he's saying what everybody's thinking.
You thought it, I said it, right?
That's right. That's right. That's good. And Eric, now that I'm looking over my notes here, the way I wanted to ask my question to you was definitely not the way that it came out.
I read it completely different too. So I'm like, what? Here you're saying on the notes that, hey, you work with, there's a lot of older clientele or population here, and then, bam, you're the old guy.
You're the old guy.
It's all right. Respect to the old guys. You guys know how to do it.
Just speak up a little bit. I can barely hear you.
Yeah, we'll say it louder.
What was that? Oh man, I'm sorry.
That's
funny. I knew what question I wanted to ask you, and I didn't even look at my notes, and then I just came out and said, "You're the old guys."
I just look older on camera, I guess.
I think one thing, Neil, that Alex touched on, and I would imagine some of your listeners, not all of them are necessarily on Facebook, but one thing that Alex mentioned is don't operate out of fear. I think we all at one point in time had a little bit of what am I doing? What is this? Is anybody going to be watching? And we were afraid of, I think maybe it was Dustin or somebody else, that judgment that comes across and that sense of vulnerability that comes when you hit that send button, when you launch that snap. Who knows what's going to be, what people are going to say. So I think for some of the people out there who aren't necessarily on Snapchat, just do it, just try it. And I think for all of us, it's the momentum. Once you do one, you start to do 5, you start to do 10, you start to do 20, and you start to get that feedback. And again, it's just that positive reinforcement, and that's what really can help people get on Snapchat and start to become, as we 5 or 6 of us are lucky to have become influencers in the space.
I think one interesting thing for me is I'm in a business that really involves confidentiality related to who's doing what in business and what building they're purchasing or whatever the case may be. So I have to be very mindful of that. There's definitely been meetings where it's like, set the phone aside, you might be addicted, don't post this. And so confidentiality does cross my mind a lot. And I'm in a business that is primarily commercial real estate's primarily the old guard, and the old guard does not understand the internet in general. So it's kind of interesting to think about that as I go throughout my day.
I feel that the same way with my industry over here. I mean, we're all in the real estate industry, but I've got people that have been in the business for longer than I've been alive in my area, and they're very, very hesitant, and actually very scared. Going back to the fear thing, they're scared about it. I think I snapped the other day where my manager said it in one of the snaps to me that he fears us, because this is definitely where everything's going, direction everything's going. It's just whether or not people are willing to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's good. I'm busy snapping here, guys. Sorry.
Well, and I think the big thing, Alex, is the world is going that way, and so let's be the real estate agents that embrace it. And the world's not going to stop for us. Technology's not going to stop for us. So I think we're all people and other influencers that we know, we're embracing it and going along for the ride.
Amen to that.
Good. Well, is there anything else you guys want to add? Any other thoughts around Snapchat, where you see it going, what you'd want to say? Here's a question. What's something you'd want to say to somebody that is not using Snapchat?
Do it.
I would just ask them, remind them of when they first got on. I'm assuming everyone's on Facebook. Anyone listening to a podcast is on Facebook. I can't imagine they wouldn't be. So I would just remind them of how they felt when they first got on Facebook, which for most of us was the very first social network. It kind of changed everything for me. And so I was hesitant. I had all these misconceptions, and I would just remind them, how did you feel then? How do you feel now? Don't you kind of feel silly about having all those misconceptions and being so hesitant back then? And don't you wish you would have even been more ahead of the curve? So I would say, get on Snapchat now. It's not like you've got to spend 3 hours a day doing it. Just get on, learn how it works, start building some relationships with a few people. And then when the masses really jump on Snapchat over the next 18 to 24 months or so, then they'll be positioned in a way where they already know what's going on. People are going to be coming to them, asking them for advice, and because they've already established themselves, they could be the authority in their area. They could be, whether it's real estate or whatever, they could be the expert just because they got started first.
Good. Anybody else want to add to that?
Actually, I'd like to. One of the things that I've seen and I felt myself, every day we're on presentations, whether we're talking with a buyer or seller or we're at some sort of networking event, and doing these daily little videos, it helps build your confidence. It helps get you better at presentations. You're better at some things on the fly, like Bucky does. Some of the he'll walk into the office space and start and talk the story about what's going on, or maybe the lone wheelchair that's sitting there, and it gets you better at the spur of the moment thing too. So just get out there, try it. It'll build your confidence. The first one's always going to be rough, no matter what platform you're on or whatever you're doing. You'll only get better the more you do it.
I think one thing that connects with me is if you're really hesitant about putting something on your story, just start using it as a way to communicate with people that you're friends with. So I started that of even in our office. Like, I'm communicating with people in my office and saying, I got a challenge for you today, get it done. So start using it in your daily communications, and then the story just becomes more natural.
And Bucky, what is up with these wheelchairs?
So it's part of my story. I mean, it's something I walk by and I never realized until Snapchat. I live in a city of 120,000 people, home of the Mayo Clinic. There's abandoned wheelchairs everywhere throughout the downtown because people just leave them because they don't know where to put them. So I'm like, I need to start taking pictures of these. So like today was one by the soaps where the soaps were on and there was the wheelchair. I've had it where I've hit the mother load of abandoned wheelchairs and there's 10 of them in a hallway. So I don't know, it's just part of my story, and now I see it thanks to Snapchat.
They're like abandoned shopping carts.
They are.
Only in Rochester, Minnesota, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome. All right, guys. Anybody else want to add anything to this? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up and put a bow on it.
Take it away, Neil.
One thing for me is, I think one that keeps us all part of this conversation is other people giving us feedback and just having conversations with us. So if you're watching this, put something down in the comments, send us a message on Snapchat, ask questions. That only gets us all. It's not just me. It's not just everybody here. It's you better at what we're doing. So that keeps us going.
That's great. That's great. And again, if you want to get a hold, you want everybody's snap codes, you can just simply text the word Snappack to 44222. Once again, text the word Snappack to 44222, and it will reply with all of our snap codes, and you can start following away. So again, thank you everybody who joined us on the Snappack. Thank you for listening to the Onion Juice podcast. And I hope that everybody has a great day. And like always, remember to be the reason somebody smiles today.